neck and neck, barely 1,000 gold apart from one another. But when push came to shove, it was BLG pushing and shoving.
And then we got to see what the response is going to be from LYON as we get into Champ Select Power, presented by HyperX. And this is going to be an absolute doozy. Like, you've already got your answer to the Mel was as Tristana. So now, do you have more in the tank? Because we know that, like, we've got the Vel'Koz coming through for Viper. We have some of these other picks that he can try and play, but the Tristana is one and done. So now I want to see what the response from LYON is as we get into game 2.
Well, luckily, Mel is also one and done. The champion that is now up to 8 games played, 7 games won. She's pretty strong.
Yeah, but you've still got, like, Ziggs and Vel'Koz that are, like, you know, definitely not Mel in disguise. It's like, that's actually what that Vel'Koz skin is, you know?
Just pretending to be Mel. Well, now let's go ahead and hop in here, see what our bans look like. It's Varus, Vi, and Akali banned out by BLG. LYON going to focus that bottom lane here early, getting rid of the Bard and getting rid of Viper's Ezreal.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously, Viper, insanely good on that Ezreal. And the Bard has been, as I said, I think On is the best Bard in the LPL right now. He's been absolutely insane on that champion. It fits his style down to the ground on, like, being able to roam around, play for those solo lanes. And especially when he's able to, like, cheat his vision control thanks to those magical journeys and that. He's just a menace. But the Orianna was left up and available. Was actually banned by BLG last game, but they get their hands on it this time.
Exactly. It was their 3rd ban in that first phase in game number 1. Now, this time around, they're going to leave it open, guarantee that Knight gets to have that one. Nocturne, the last ban of the first half here for LYON. So what do they want to go with? How do they want to play this? Because honestly, the game number 1 performance from LYON was 95% good. It fell apart in the last team fight, and as soon as that fight was over, BLG pushed and they won the game. But up until then, that game was so close, and I want to see LYON continue to keep up with BLG.
And I think it relied on 2 things. One, Inspired being able to get active in the early stages on the map, like getting that play towards being in the top line, helping out Dhokla on that weak side, and making sure that matchup was stable. And secondly, Isles. I think Isles had a great performance on the Shen, as there's Miss Chim Chim, as I think him being able to play around on this early map, covering a ton of the plays that On had, that was the other part of it, right? So if you can find that early pressure for Inspired and Oz once more, I think that's where LYON can maybe push BLG back a little bit.
All right, well, LYON's first 2 picks, they're going to copy a control mage here in the mid lane, pick up the Viktor for Saint, and then locking in the Skarner for Inspired. This was also a champion that was banned in game number 1, albeit in the second half, if I'm remembering correctly, but Inspired will get to pilot that one here. It's all about the angles for the Ishtal's impact. It's all about getting creative, tunneling through the walls, finding the ganks that might otherwise not be expected. But on BLG's end, they're going to say, all right, it's
the arch
time
nemesis.
For the, exactly. We've got the, well, that lore's retcon now, but we've got the old school arch nemesis battle of the Seraphine versus the Skarner. Seraphine Ashe, of course, has been such a power duo. It feels like all split long. They can be so oppressive. Ashe sets up Seraphine so well. And also, if you're saying that one of the reasons why LYON was able to keep up with BLG was Inspired being able to be where he needed to be at different points, follow the movements of Shun and On, Ashe is so good at tracking the enemy jungler.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's where it's going to be hard coming into the rest of this, because you already kind of banned away in your own right some of the answers that you could have gone for here online. Like traditionally we see like Caitlyn Bard as an answer in towards this in the bottom lane, but with the Bard taken away, and now maybe things like the Caitlyn band towards Berserker as well, with the lack of focus on the AD carries, I think this bot lane pool going to be very pinched and difficult for LYON to answer with.
Meanwhile, on the LYON side, they're going to go ahead and ban out that Renekton. They want to remove one of those safe kind of evergreen top laner options that Ben can just slam and kind of play into anything.
It's also, you're into Ambessa. You want no Gnar, you want no Renekton, you want nothing's going to beat her in the early stages. Like, let her come alive at that later portion.
Exactly. Renekton versus Ambessa, traditionally not a very fun matchup for Ambessa in the lane. So Nautilus going to be banned out by BLG. This is one of those types of picks into Ashe Seraphine that people would take, kind of just the all-in, full send it. Okay, they're going to be oppressive if they're able to maintain their structure in the lane and their range. So just try to all in them, just try to burst them down. Not going to allow that to happen. And LYON are also going to ban out the Bane.
Interesting. So, yeah, because you already have the Ambessa locked in, because at this stage, not a huge amount of, like, engage for LYON. Like, as you say, Skarner can, if he's able to run at people, but you're running into Seraphine, you're running into Orianna, you're running into Ashe. It's not the best time.
Yeah.
So I'd expect you to try and focus on a bit more of those engage tools. But I imagine we're going to see like a rel ban or something along those lines here. Maybe even the Alistair in that bottom lane, just to try and remove more of that champ tool actually going to be the Lucian. But I think LYON have to focus on having a bit more, because Ambessa, since the nerfs, just not really that engage tool that you're hoping to be anymore. And same when you comes towards the Skarner.
Well, we've got the Ziggs picked up for LYON. So while BLG was focusing on let's ban out the things that can all in our Ashe Seraphine, LYON is instead going to say, no. If you want to play ranged ability spam, we will play ranged ability spam. And that's the way it's going to be. Ziggs locked in for Berserker down here. We'll see how well he can pilot that one. As over on BLG's side, still need to see that top laner. What's it going to be? Top lane and jungle, please. The Gnar locked in for Bin.
Yeah, Bin going to be happy with this matchup, being able to try and abuse that range in the early stages, and then having the opportunity to try and leap away if Ambessa ever goes for the all-in. Going to be very nice, as Shun going for the Naafiri as well, basically saying, hey, look, we have strong lanes that we can try and play around, but you do have, like, Viktor tends to outrange the Orianna in the early stages, and Ziggs, depending on the pairing here, might be able to answer for some of this push from the Ashe and the Seraphine post-level 3. So I'm curious to see just how much this Naafiri can get done in the early stages.
I also like having something like Gnar when you have Seraphine, because Naafiri dives, but she usually dives the very back line. Gnar dives in and he kind of mega Gnars everyone. And Seraphine's going to send the Encore straight through that. But the answer from LYON is Pyke for Isles. Okay, remember, Pyke's death from below does kill you through shield.
Yeah.
So if Seraphine is trying to shield people, if Orianna is trying to shield people, you can still find the execution, but this is not a champion that's one of those like pro play staples. It is one that we've seen a couple of times here so far at MSI with, we'll call it mixed results.
I also don't see it in Isles' play history. Like, I think this is the first time that he's going to be bringing the Pyke to the main stage.
To slam it against BLG at MSI?
And look, I wasn't convinced by the Camille performance the other day, so I'm really hoping that this Pyke is going to do much better.
Well, to be fair, I was also unconvinced by the Camille performance the other day, but I think the entire series overall against Furia on that first game day for LYON was very messy, right? There's a lot of those that they would want back, and I think that although they did lose game 1 here in this series, again, for 95% of the game, it did feel like they had a plan. It felt like everybody was on the same page. It felt like they had a way that they were planning on playing this game out. So I'm hoping that Isles' Pyke is the same thing compared to the performance that we saw in the Camille the other day.
I'm also hoping Berserker Ziggs is the same, because honestly, massively impressed by Berserker on the Ziggs. I think he was really good. The satchel charges were great. The zone control and that ultimate usage was fantastic. So if Isles is able to kind of get out on the map and interact in the same way he did on the Shen, I think you do have a decent fallback plan in the late game with some of this long-range damage from Saint and Berserker.
All right, let's see how level 1 starts to shake out for us here, as BLG are going to wander slightly into the enemy jungle a little bit, but Isles going to see him come and go ahead, back away on this one. Checking summoner spells and everything, all seems to be pretty normal. Important to note, though, since Berserker is on the Ziggs, taking the teleport in the bottom lane, that is going to give them more options for rotating around the map as the game goes on. Viper, of course, just running the Ghost double mobility summoner spells on that Ashe, very powerful.
We've also got the Lethal Temple for Bin in that top side, so definitely trying to see if he can get a couple of those auto attacks to set himself up for success in that top lane and really punish Dhokla when it comes towards that early laning phases. Shun, just clearing out, is going, down towards this bottom side, so it'll just be a full clear, it looks like, for both junglers, but it is kind of separated now with Inspired. Going to end up on this bottom side, and with this Pyke here, maybe that's a window for opportunity.
Yeah, because if you're playing Pyke, he's not going to have nearly the same pressure on the wave that something like Ashe and Seraphine is going to have. So you should be pushed in by Viper and On early on before Berserker can insta-clear the wave.
And I think that's why it's a little unfortunate that you did see nice Viper and On moving down to that bottom side, because it meant that LYON had to give up position on the first wave.
And you can see on the left side of your screen here as we split to the tri-lane camera, the experience gap. LYON versus BLG, international appearances. BLG has so many more international games. The jungle is very comparable between Shun and Inspired. Inspired actually slightly taking the edge there, but every other role massively favoring BLG in terms of international games played. And I think that that's something that's very important when you look at last game specifically, because it was so close 95% of the way. But then when it came down to the do or die moment, it's BLG making it happen. That's the team that has so much experience in these high pressure moments, so much experience, and the whole game rides on this, and that's why they were able to execute and get that clean 5-0.
Yeah, but it's sometimes the moments that you have with those shortened games that really stand out, right? Like Bollywood Bin being able to kill Bin as he went underneath the tower in Rek'Sai, where it's FlyQuest with Inspired who are pushing them the distance in that game 5 versus Gen G. Like, these are moments where the NA has stood up and been accounted for and nearly, taken down Goliaths in the LoL eSports space. But once again, they have to see if they can try and do it against BLG, as Isles starting to move towards this mid lane already. Knight low, but I don't think there's much more follow-up you can go for here.
Yeah, I think the main move for Isles is probably just to guarantee that if BLG is trying to punish Saint as he gets the wave crashed in, LYON wants to make sure that there's no actual punish there. Shun is going to come around from the side, though. Saint, you okay, brother? First Dark and Dagger already hits. Shun continuing the chase. Saint on the run. Inspired trying to kill off his wolf to get down here. Saint escapes, but he has to flash to do it. Now Inspired has showed up. Slams him into the wall here with Ishtal's impact. Shun still trying to get away here on the Naafiri. Does not have the flash. It's first blood over to On, who rotates first. And it's BLG picking up 2 kills. Shun stays alive, and BLG are on the board.
The heal and the shield from On, just enough to keep Shun topped up so he doesn't go down. BLG react fast, and you see it here. Like, Saint, I think, does a good job here of waiting so long for this flash, so then you can actually get both your jungle and support here to help out. They go on towards Shun, but just look how much comes out from On here. The flash forward gives the heal, then the shield. There's no real damage left as Isles has already gone through most of his rotation. Aspired in the same boat, and then Knight just the crown on top there.
Yeah, On with the absolutely clutch roam to not only get the first blood for himself, finish off that kill that almost got away with Saint, but then saving his own teammate. Bin's going in for the auto deck. It's a solo kill in the top lane. Lethal tempo Gnar. Put the emphasis on the lethal. Dhokla's out of there. This is a disaster early game for LYON. BLG said, all right, you had your fun game. It's all serious business now, and they are taking no prisoners.
Yeah, not Dhokla's tempo in the top side is Isles. We'll just spot out Chun backing away, but you've already got On in position to try and cover. Massive win coming through on that top side. You'll see it in the replay, just managing to clip him, I imagine. Oh, actually, Dhokla went for the heavy trade.
Ooh,
thought he had more in the tank, but Bin, so much damage thanks to that lethal tempo. The flash forward sets him up beautifully.
That was just a blunder from Dhokla. Yeah. He goes in too far. He puts himself in a spot where mini Gnar feels empowered to jump on his head and say, no, man, you're done. That was too much. Well done there from Bin to punish Dhokla, and you know Dhokla's going to want that one back.
Dhokla level 6 though, as Bin does jump forward once again. So Bin still needs to finish out these creeps. But yeah, that's super unfortunate, because now Bin going to be in a position where he can start to leverage this early lane. As we're still waiting here, Dhokla fishing for a bit more. No, he's just going to back away. But yeah, the advantage that you get with this now is being able to push forward, look for turret plates, try and get even more out of this, especially with the early tabbies. You're so strong into this matchup.
Bin just perfectly comfortable here with those shoes like you're talking about. Looking across the map, Berserker does have a gold lead for himself down there in the bottom lane. Of course, that On had to rotate over, make sure that he contributed to that big scrap that was in the bottom side river. Gives Berserker the opportunity to probably just shove Viper in with the power of that Ziggs early on. But I think BLG will be perfectly happy making that trade, having On leave the bottom lane there for a little bit. Inspired trying to maintain control over the top side river here. Remember that in game number 1, the dragon stacking was very slow. Neither team really prioritized that objective. The first one is alive, and since it's mountain, that generally gets prioritized less here as well because it takes longer to secure because it's so tanky. So I'm expecting probably a similar story here in this game, although you can see a ping in the dragon pit right now. Red ping coming out from LYON.
They're just unsure as to where Shun is, because Shun has done a little bit of an unusual pathing where you can see his wolves are still up, but his Gromp is gone. So Inspired, in trying to keep track of where he was, because he just hit that vision cone, thinks that, oh, Shun is actually cleared from top into bot lane, but we haven't spotted him anywhere, so he must be on Dragon, because he didn't contest the crab for level 6. But instead, Shun, you can see kind of leaving some of these camps a little bit helter-skelter over the place, is he still hits 6, but they've now lost track online as to where Shun is.
Camps are worth money, Dagda, but they are also worth confusing your opponent. What is more valuable, money or confusion? That's the name of the game. As Bin goes in for the Mega Gnar on Dhokla, immediately reverts to mini form, continues chasing him once to get that last hit there for the hyper proc. Misses the boomerang though, and Dhokla's very thankful for that because his health bar is already pretty compromised here. Does still have the public execution if Bin goes too far. Fires it off, but no, Bin just walks to the side. So easy there, avoiding that potential engage. Inspired waiting around nearby, so now his pressure's also not going to get much. Downtown arrow coming in from Viper. Shun's there, Knight's there, Saint is out of there as the kill goes over to Knight.
BLG just playing so well. The arrow from Viper connecting on towards Saint, and Shun in a position to try and cover both sides of the equation. If Inspired went top, he was there, but was happy to take a mid laner for his troubles.
And now with the resources spent, you don't have the arrow, you don't have the Mega Gnar, you don't have Shun's ulti. You're going to see BLG back away from the grubs. Inspired's going to try to secure those for now as Knight goes ahead, takes his recall. We'll see if he wants to walk back to lane or try to teleport, maybe make a play to try to contest here at these grubs. On is in the area, but so is Isles. Shun hanging around nearby here too. Inspired tries to go for the Ishtal's impact, uses Impale to force out the flash from On. It's still Inspired and Isles with control over the grub pit.
Yeah, On trying to be annoying there, and Inspired's like, I'm calling your bluff. You do not have anyone in behind you. But Bin getting a nice trade there. Also Viper, while this was all going on, managed to take some turret plates in the bottom lane as well. So BLG at least trading for the early grubs. Still though, I think LYON, especially when you've got people like Dhokla who in the later portion of the game want to get quick access to turrets, can get a lot of value from this Void grub.
It's still a scary early game. 9 minutes in, we're at just about a 2,000 gold lead because of plays like this.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting beautiful cinematics here as the arrow towards Saint. Incredible. Shun ready to follow up with the ultimate as well. And I like, Saint had no chance. He has no flash, he has no way to get away from this, and BLG just bullying the LYON mid laner.
Yeah, once you're an immobile control mage hit with a max range arrow, you're pretty done for. As Isles coming down in here to the bottom lane, trying to make the play onto Viper. Nice sidestep away from the stun, flashes onto the other side of the satchel and evades the bouncing bomb. He's got his juke boots on, and Viper walks away from it.
Might have opened up line to try and go for this dragon, though, as Viper has to look for the reset. There's the shockwave.
Yeah, Knight going in after Saint here, continuing to just put damage into that health bar here with the clockwork. Wind up, one more hit would have got him. Saint stays alive from drinking the potion as On is about to die down here in the bottom lane. Berserker takes him out as Inspired arrives. Viper down to 200 HP, but Shun is hanging around in case LYON goes too far. You can see Saint completes his recall there as the arrow fires out, collides into Berserker. Shun shows up, but he's not going to fully commit for this. He does have the Hound's Pursuit, but since LYON is still nearby and he used Call of the Pack for the extra speed and the extra distance, Shun does not want to overcommit.
Still though, LYON make the play, they get the kill, they get the dragon, so, well, in theory, as I can see, Shun is kind of hovering around, does know that this is going down. TP from Knight in towards the mid lane, but with no shockwave, I think it's a bit of a lackluster attempt here from BLG.
Yep, Inspired. Well, Shun is over the wall, wants to try to contest him for this one. The Impale connects, though. Isles trying to come in and help, but no, Shun just steals it away. He walks in, he's trapped in the Scorpion Sting, but it doesn't even matter. As soon as it expires, he smites it down, and it's LYON who end up looking foolish.
Yeah, because it looked like LYON had basically made the call of, hey, we don't want to deal more damage to Dragon, like keep it healthy, we just try and kill Inspired, but not sure if it was just the AoE from Berserker or what it was, but the Dragon going low enough. Big win for Shun as he managed to get the steal.
Yep, and both of our junglers do have their first fully completed items now. Hextech Proto Belt for Inspired. Very cheap item, very powerful. As Isles does find a nice pull onto On here in the mid lane. Gravity Field's going to stun him up, and a nice shockwave coming in from Knight to turn things right back around. Saint is down, and Knight is on a killing spree. The golden left hand slams his fist into LYON's jaw, and BLG are running this second game.
Knight showing why he picks up Dark Seal early every game. 4 stacks, 4 kills, and bodies are hitting the floor in front of the BLG mid laner.
Beautifully played from BLG, On buying enough time for Knight to get over there, save his support, get the 2 counter kills. We're going to go all the way back here in the rewind, see Shun steal the Drake.
Yeah, because there's obviously a lot of burn both from Skarner and the Naafiri here. But, oh, it's damage from On that just sets it super low. Yeah, oh, must just be the bleed damage basically coming through from Shun that ends up getting it low enough. But On basically saying he meant to do this as he ends up getting caught. The charm is good, the shockwave even better. And at this stage, you've already used so much, and Isles just barely short of that level 6 as well, means he doesn't have the execute damage. But Knight able to finish him off in the end.
You can see some frustration on the face of Saint. Knows that getting to play like that, turned around to a 2 for nothing. It's a 3K gold
But
lead.
look at the experience on Isles. Like, he's been so close to that level 6. A couple of the kills that have nearly gone the way of LYON would have tipped him over the edge and really kind of changed some of these early plays. But unfortunately, needs to start picking up some of this experience so he can actually be more impactful on some of these plays.
Yeah, he needs the ulti. The ulti is the difference there, probably between making that work and what we saw just happen. It's now a 1,500 gold lead for Knight, largest individual gold lead on the map. 3K is a bigger gold lead in this game at 13 minutes than we had the entirety of game 1 until the game-ending fight. This is BLG dominating the early game here in game number 2. Saint gets away for now, does evade that last hit from the
TP
ball.
behind.
TP coming in, LYON trying to make some kind of a play. Mega Inferno Bomb, not a whole lot of value there, as now we're going to see BLG look to maybe try to turn it around, but no, nice shutdown going over to Saint, as he now has to escape. Ben arrives here with the TP, trying to get something back. It's BLG here in a 4v5 as Inspired grabs 2 with the Impale. Lots of damage on the BLG. Inspired might have died, but BLG is collapsing. Shun has to try to flash away, but Dhokla's already killed him. Ben's the last man standing. LYON just got 4 for 1, a massive play. Saint, what the hell? What? Saint takes a turret shot, it's a 4 for 2. It still favors LYON.
Still a massive turnaround for LYON. A 2,000 gold swing back for the LCS representative, and it's just a good call. BLG don't see the movement from LYON to try and get in behind them here. It's the immediate TP with a single creep on half HP before it dies. Dhokla gets that teleport in, and then it's all hands on deck. It's Dhokla who tries to go for Anna, but he actually no, just immediately goes for Knight. Knows that flash was burned to kill Isles earlier on. And everyone moving away here. Saint with a good flash away from Bin, but watch this. Inspired with that setup, the tumble through, the depth from below doing so much work here, and LYON get a ton of gold back, and then we cut the tape. And then we
don't watch this part. Don't watch this, this part. No, don't watch. Yeah. But everything up until that part was really good. everything up until that part was really good.
That's
the kind of move you got to make. And Inspired, that protoplasm harness that I was talking about earlier, that was actually really big in making it so he lived long enough for that Impale to keep everybody in place and allow them to find their counterattack. Mega damage coming out there from Berserker in that fight too. 3,400 Inspired on Skarner. You can see here a 3-0 record with a 40 KDA.
Yeah, not bad.
He's pretty good on the champ.
Yeah, you know, I'd take that KDA.
Yeah,
you know,
it's not bad. Not bad. It would show up in big golden sparkly letters on OPGG.
And I think it's showing well here as well, right? Like the fact that you end up with that massive Impale that sets up for the play, like Inspire looks comfortable. And what it started off as that 3K gold lead that you were talking about, down to 1K, significantly closer. Now it is like very shared across the board with Berserker kind of holding on to that main lead. But that's also what we saw a lot in the last game, right? Where it was kind of Berserker on the Tristana versus the World, and that was enough to keep them within arm's reach. Now LYON want to try and contest.
Yep. LYON trying to move up, challenge BLG here at the Rift Herald. Mega Inferno Bomb finds damage only onto On. As the Herald is secured by Inspired, On gonna be careful. No, he's caught in the gravity field. On is about to die here to the Arcane Storm. Saint grabs the first kill. Isles looking to make it a second here tonight, but instead he is punished. It's a 1-for-1 trade, support for support. Battle Herald is already engaged. Shun goes over the wall with a massive shockwave. Shun kills 2. LYON, they lost track of Knight and Shun, and now Knight trying to get away here with 100 HP. Viper's got him slowed. Protoplasm harness ain't gonna do it this time, as Inspired is about to fall, and LYON overplay their hand. BLG swift to punish with the Shun Knight combo.
The pack separated and BLG saw the weakness. They jump onto the remaining members of LYON. Has been whiffs on the Mega Gnar, but here's the support.
Okay, right back into Mininar. The timing is nice here. Uses the hop to get over Dhokla, but now Dhokla could be in a little bit of danger. Isles still trying to find the kill here. Bin's 1v2ing. They gotta bring in a third man. LYON, they do manage to get their kill, but that was so sketchy.
It may still be, as here comes Shun.
Yeah, Shun wants to try to clean up whatever's left down here. Isles and Dhokla getting themselves away, but now Berserker, that Ziggs that you were talking about, the point of power for LYON, shut down with kill credit over to Viper.
And showing that no good deed goes unpunished. Berserker TP's down, doesn't get the assist, ends up dying at the back of it as well. LYON, again, they found some moments, but BLG answering back, that gold lead growing, this tower in the bot lane going to fall, and Knight should be able to catch that wave in the top lane that Saint to teleport it to.
Man, oh man, what a crazy sequence. I'm sure once we get the replay, we're going to have to go all the way back to the top side river, because it really was, it looked like LYON might have had a chance to maybe chase and punish something, but as soon as they separated, you just send in the dog bomb, the ball strapped to Shun. As soon as he collides with a target, the shockwave makes it happen. Now an arrow flying into the top side. Saint sidesteps it. Knight staying alive for now. He tried to flash behind the Impale, but the AoE goes to the side. It still catches him, and LYON have the first kill here in the fight. Knight down. Dhokla's also arrived here with the teleport. Public execution 3 seconds away from being available. Bin with the Gnar bar charged. Hits Gnar on that one, clears out the wave. LYON finding a nice pick and getting everybody out.
LYON starting to move across towards this mid lane as well, so you can see On and Shun trying to move here to protect Viper on the mid lane towers. Inspire goes in.
Yeah, Inspire tries to tunnel through the wall, but Shun's still okay for now. However, a lot of pressure still coming in. BLG bring Viper into the fight. Shun tries to get a bit more damage, but no, he's going to be shut down by Saint. Now Viper dies too. LYON's finding even more as On tries to get away, but no! The power siphon rips out his soul, and LYON just about tie the game up.
Once again, LYON find the picks they need to get the goal back into their favor. Insane play across the board, in particular when you look at how they set up the control, the zone control in that fight. Saint getting so much value from that gravity well. We'll see it here as we start to come in, because Shun on his camp, Inspired thinks, hang on, we know Bin is just clear top wave, and Gnar, he can't come in. So Inspired immediately starts to set up. Dhokla moves through here, but as Viper showed up, see this gravity well means that Viper can't actually follow up on a lot of this. He gets stunned, and then immediately Dhokla is able to follow up as Shun try and goes for the re-engage. LYON playing so well around the choke points in this area.
LYON not willing to lay down and die. BLG have had such an explosive early game here, but I'm so impressed with LYON's ability to hang in there and find those angles. This is what they would do domestically in North America. I talked about it a bit in game number 1. Even when they're behind, it's their shot calling that brings them these opportunities for fights to get back into the game, and now they're overloading the top side. Saint still just trying to clear the waves in mid. Everybody else hanging around top, but the turret has already been destroyed up there in the top lane.
Yeah, we have a bit of a split map situation going on right now. As Inspire going to clear out that top side. You got the same for Shun, who wants to take some of those camps in bot lane, but now On moving here, trying to get in on towards this mid lane.
Yeah, BLG wants to put pressure onto the turret. They'll at least take out that third plate. Isles coming around from the side means BLG does want to back up, not overcommit on anything. Inspired just punches Shun. Not a whole lot more to do here as both sides, again, playing cautiously. BLG, they could afford to play a little crazy, a little scrappy earlier. They were up 3,000 gold 12 minutes into the game. Now it's dead even at 21 minutes. BLG are going to have to make sure they're giving LYON the respect they're due, but the Impale's already there. The Mega Inferno Bomb on! He doesn't get hit by death from below. Isles critically misses the ulti, and now LYON's going to try to run, but Inspired's already been killed. The Baron's on the map. LYON tries to make the play, but a slight miscalculation. They don't get the kill, and instead now it's BLG moving over to Baron.
X marks the spot where LYON thought they had it, but instead it's BLG who are able to step away, find themselves in front of the Baron. So much is still available, including the arrow in a couple of seconds.
All right, On is very low with HP. Keep that one in mind, but he's got a lot of shields, a lot of healing. LYON trying to stop this. Berserker over the wall with the AoE damage. Arrow's not going to find a target here. Bouncing bomb still looking. Public execution again, going to miss. Bin goes in for a 3-man Gnar. Tosses 3 of them back, but Dhokla's already killed Viper. Saint falls now. Shun barely staying alive, but he is executed by the Baron and Berserker. It's 2 dead on the BLG side, 2 dead on the LYON side. A bloodbath in the river is an equal trade.
You'll take that as LYON. Denying the Baron as maybe more here.
Oh, beautiful bone skewer into the East Stall's impact. LYON find another one. Nicely done there to ultimately give themselves the advantage, and they get Knight's teleport at the end of it, or he would have been dead to rights too.
But look at the timer as well. Now you've got the opportunity with a Dragon in 50 seconds to move bot lane, push out waves, set up vision. And it's this start here where Bin trying so hard to try and play up into this position, Isles dodging away. But in fact, as Bin goes in, he actually exposes his backline because he goes forward. But Dhokla is like, great, I've been pushed on to the backline with Saint. Immediately burst out Viper. You don't have the health bar to try and continue forward. So it is end up being in that 2-for-2 with Bin almost helping Line getting that reposition.
We've got ourselves another close one here, Dagda. It was looking like the classic close first game, and then the second one ends up being a blowout here at the start. But no, the Coinbase gold grind showing you that it's actually Saint up 300 gold overnight over the LPL's best mid laner. As LYON now, they don't want to allow BLG soul point. That could complicate things here in the future, so they've got to try to find some sort of an angle as this Drake is about to spawn. Dhokla teleporting in, has the empowered shield ready to go, but the Drake has already begun by BLG. They've got it down to half HP. Bin is about to die. Gets over the wall, stays safe for now, stays alive. Inspire jumping into the pit, but no, it's Shun getting the credit. Dhokla's going to be taken low by Bin. Meanwhile, over here with the junglers, both on the front line, both down to about half HP. Dhokla's already been killed by Bin. Inspired here with the Impale. Finds the kill into Viper, but a nice shockwave coming back from Knight to make sure Inspired falls too. Everybody on LYON trying to scatter, but no, it's BLG coming up big in another fight. It's a 4-for-2, and Shun's not done. Isles is forced all the way home as BLG make their way on a soul point and head towards the Baron pit.
Again, LYON trying to force their way in. It's a nice job to turn on towards Bin, but keep your eyes on how Knight plays this fight. Ends up incredibly slow on the ult usage, which actually catches LYON out, because here, on flashing forward, you expect the shockwave. That's why Saint goes for that, the Zhonya's, but Knight waits patiently, and as they try to jump in here, that's where the shockwave connects. Now you've got the damage from Shun, and it's the follow-up bit Bin just barely clipping onto Berserker there that really seals the deal for BLG.
And Bin winning out in that top laner battle at the very start of the fight too, eliminating Dhokla, making sure it's a 5v4, guaranteed victory there for BLG. Now they've got soul point, now they've got the Baron, now they've got to get out of town because LYON's trying to find some sort of a punish, but BLG have already evacuated the area. Isles trying to look for some sort of a chance here at a Bone Skewer. Shun jumps back in. Inspired on the front line, but he's got to be careful. Taking a lot of damage there from Viper and Bin over the wall. Inspired! He's too far forward. BLG have already found their first kill. Make Berserker number 2. Saints about to be 3. Shun falls, but BLG will avenge him in style. Isles the only man left again. Knight with a flash forward. He wants the full ace, and by God, he's gonna get it. 25-17, 5,000 gold lead. That's BLG.
The Scorpion couldn't find a rock to hide under. BLG with the dog delivery system may have just brought themselves a Game 2 win off the back of that play.
This is, if nothing else, going to explode the gold lead as it rises now to above 7,000. Here's another look at LYON trying to find an angle.
And they're basically saying, look, BLG hasn't reset. Maybe we have a moment, but with Inspired separated, and On and Viper doing a ton of work to keep the rest of LYON out of the play. Inspired is overextended. On steps up again to try and set up alongside this arrow. And it's Shun flashing forward, the dog delivery system, catching Saint as well. Sure, Shun goes down, but it's BLG happy to take that trade.
Exactly. You send the dog all the way in. Yes, he's got to go up to dog heaven, but that's okay. He'll look down on the rest of the team with a big old smile because BLG are 7,000 gold up. You can see the frustration on Dhokla's face. Knight on Orianna here in 2026. This entire year undefeated on the champion, 8-0. Another 40 KDA. Dagda, and he's got 24 pages in his book. He is writing a death note full of LYON names, and he's not quite done. The pen's still got plenty of ink in it, and it looks like we've still got another 45 seconds of this Red Bull Baron power play that's already plus 5,000 gold. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, not gonna find a target there as Shun goes in with a Hound's Pursuit. He just wants to kill Isles. He's bleeding him down with the Dark and Daggers. He gets the kill. Shun's a 1-for-1 trade on that one, just a full send out of the BLG jungler. Meanwhile, Inspired behind BLG, setting up for maybe a flank angle. Saint is still in the top lane pushing the tier 2 of BLG, and he has no teleport. There's no way for the Viktor to get here quickly, so BLG is just ransacking the base. Mid lane inhibitor already down, bot lane inhibitor turret about to fall next.
Basically hoping that Saint can get back in time and Inspire can then come in behind them. Won't get spotted on the wave. Here you go. Saint has reset and bought items.
Okay, Inspired is here. On Viper and Bin, trying to get out safe. Bin forcing Inspired back to create space for On and Viper, who are now regrouping behind their top laner. Viper fires the volley forward, slowing down Dhokla. They've got the enemy Ambessa down to half HP. Nice sidestep of the boulder there from Inspired, but Bin goes in for the Mega Gnar, only onto the enemy tank. BLG continuing their retreat now as everybody from LYON has showed up. Isles jumps in straight to his own demise. Inspired now trying to continue his retreat as On flashes away from the Arcane Storm. Bin already had to trigger his Sterax, so he's low, but he's continually getting healed up by On, and Shun has now rejoined the fray. The darkened daggers fly, and Lion's about to die. Shun and the rest of BLG continually charge forward. Saint has to try to get himself away, but the flash won't save him. Inspired dies next, and nobody's left standing on LYON. BLG gonna march it in.
BLG find their moment with some big swings in the team fights, thanks to Knight on the Orianna and his line, watching their Nexus crumble.
Knight will remain undefeated on that Orianna here in 2026. BLG will move to match point with an 11,000 gold lead, taking out LYON in game 2.
You cannot give Knight the Orianna and expect to come out looking clean, but it's BLG who have definitely had some tough times against LYON here.